Okay, it's time. Welcome everybody to the author's webinar. You're talking with Hille from Christchurch, New Zealand, and that's somewhat important because I'm sitting here in my home office in a small town just outside of Christchurch, and 20 years ago, 15 years ago, it would have been very, very difficult for somebody like me with a home office to get onto Amazon, let alone become a #1 best-selling author. So I guess the point I'm making is it's now possible for anybody anywhere in the world to be at home and yet be successful as an author. Just one other thing. Most of you know that Christchurch has been hit by a number of earthquakes in the last year, probably about 10 times in the last year. An earthquake's been bad enough to cut the power. It's very unlikely it's going to happen on this webinar, but in case everything goes blank, that's possible. If that does happen, I will make sure to try and log back in within 5 minutes. Okay, so how to become an Amazon #1 best-selling author. Firstly, some housekeeping. This is my first time using GoToWebinar. It should go off without too much of a hitch. I will from time to time be checking this questions box, which I guess will come up. If there are things that aren't working, please obviously let me know. In terms of questions, I'm very happy to answer questions. There will be plenty of time and space to answer questions. I'm most likely to take questions in the middle and at the end, simply because I'm not going to be looking all the time for questions and disrupting the flow. Is this being recorded? Yes, it is. It's going to be available as a private link. I'm not going to be making it public for the simple reason that the stuff that I'm going to be talking about is cutting edge. There is a fantastic window that's open to authors on Amazon, which I think will be open for probably another year, 2 at the most. But if this stuff gets out to the general public more quickly, then that window is going to close. In terms of timing, I've scheduled 1.5 hours. We may go longer. I can't go too much longer because I'm on being interviewed on national radio in 2 hours and 10 minutes. So I haven't really advertised that. So for those, I know there are a number of people listening from New Zealand. If you want to catch me at 3:10 p.m. with Jim Mora, I'm going to be on national radio. Okay, that's the housekeeping. Oh, I should have said thank you to Stuart Levin, who suggested that we do this webinar, and we were thinking we might struggle to get 25 people. Well, I'm not sure how many we've got on at the moment, but certainly there were 116 last time I looked who had registered. All right, today's format, we're going to do an introduction, then part 1 is getting started, part 2, what is required to be a bestseller, part 3, what happened last month to me as an author, part 4, what makes Amazon tick, part 5, how to become an Amazon best-selling author, part 6, self-promotion. And the key point there is you don't have another promoter, it's you. You're promoting you, nobody else. Unlike in the old days, if you went through a traditional publisher, they would have a promotional team that promoted you in your book. It's not the case. Part 7, social media. Part 8, you need to launch. Part 9, Amazon tips, tricks and details. Part 10, professional help. Part 11, what is next for me and what I'm going to do on Amazon. Part 12, I have a challenge for you. Part 13, questions and answers. Part 14, for those of you who are interested and want to stay till the end, I am going to upload my latest book live in front of you to the Amazon site. It's a short book. It's only 17 pages long, but it's a legitimate book. It's going to be for sale on Amazon at the end of this. And I just want to do that to show you how incredibly simple it is. It should take less than 10 minutes for me to go from beginning to end to upload my book, and I hope that will motivate you to get your book or your planned book up on Amazon. It's amazingly easy. Okay, I want to honor God in everything I do. Many of you will know that I'm a man of God. I want to thank God for his blessing in my life. I choose to believe that God has blessed me in my self-publishing journey. Do I get it right all the time? No, I don't. But I am learning, and obviously It doesn't matter what your faith is. We all know of people who have had way better publishing success than I have, who have no faith whatsoever. So I'm not suggesting for one moment you need to be a person of faith to do well on Amazon or anywhere else. I just, for me personally, I want to thank God for blessing me in my journey. Okay, brief introduction. The way that I'm personally wired is I get a kick out of seeing other people succeed, which means I get a kick out of you succeeding. So email me at any time, and if I can help you, I will. I'll leave that up just for a few seconds so you can write down my email address, ollie.lifestyle@gmail.com. If you want help with Amazon, if you want some advice, if you want me to look at some stuff, then, you know, I'm happy to do that, and I want you to succeed. ollie.lifestyle@gmail.com. Okay, now this is where it gets exciting. Welcome to the golden age of self-publishing. What is possible now was not possible 5 years ago, was not even remotely possible or even thought of 10 or 15 years ago. And this, right now, we're at a dawn of a fantastic new age. And as I said in my introduction, this opportunity in this golden age for publishers is not going to be it's not going to be golden for too much longer, maybe a year or so. It's going to be really great because we're at the forefront and the cutting edge, and if you get the skills and you get the knowledge and you get your books up before everybody else starts realizing how easy it is, if you do it now, you're going to get noticed. If you do it in 2 years' time, you're probably going to get lost in the rush. So I read some research recently. 8 out of 10 people, if you ask them, say that they would like to write a book or publish a book at some stage of their life. Well, it's never been easier. Right now there are 558,000 ebooks up on Amazon. Well, I've put 3 ebooks up, well, 3 ebooks up in the last month, including the one I'm going to be putting on today, and you guys will probably put some up in the next month. A friend of mine, Richard, who's on the line, who I encouraged to write his story down and get an ebook up, amazingly enough had 2 ebooks up when I only had 1. So okay, his books are shorter than mine and he did it slightly differently, but this golden opportunity is not going to last forever. So don't delay, get something up before Christmas, and I'm going to show you how to do it. I think Theda is on our call. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Theda and I are going to work together to get her book, which she said she finished in June. We're going to get that up by the 19th of December. It's unbelievably easy. You'll notice in this presentation there are no pictures. One thing I learned in my psychology degree is that you can have all the jokes and pictures and whatever else you want in a presentation, but all that does is divert you from the task. We need to focus on what we're doing. That's why there's not all pictures of the golden age, whatever. So as I mentioned before, right at the end of the webinar, I'm going to actually load my new book on Amazon. Should take less than 10 minutes. It's an absolutely new book, and I'll be loading it for the first time live. Okay, my first recommendation after this webinar is that you buy John Locke's book, How I Sold 1 Million eBooks in 5 Months. It's on Amazon. It's $2.99 for the ebook version. It's not very long. I got a lot of my inspiration and some of my strategy from him. It's a brilliant book. It's a no-brainer. Apple has trained us, as you probably know, if you have anything to do with Apple has trained us to purchase on impulse for 99 cents to $2.99. You know, 20 years ago, if you wanted to buy a record, you had to buy a record or a CD, and it was $30 or $20. Maybe you bought a single. But now, whether it's an app or a song, Apple has trained us to buy stuff on impulse. When we see it, we want it now, and it's cheap. And that is now what Amazon have done. And the great thing about Amazon, and the reason why Apple works so much, is people want instant access. And with Amazon eBooks, Amazon say themselves that they want you reading the book within 60 seconds of you seeing it, which is not possible if you're going to Amazon and ordering the book, and it's not possible if you read about a book in the newspaper and you have to go into town to buy it. The only place you can get instant access, and the way the world is going and the way life is, we want instant access. The only way you can get instant access to a book is from Amazon or obviously Barnes & Noble and Google Books and Apple itself. So this is the way of the future. Finally, we have a level playing field. You know, the big multi-million-dollar publishers have to compete with us on a dead level playing field. They have no advantage over us anymore. In fact, they have a big disadvantage. They have this massive overhead that they have to contend with, and so it's very unlikely they're going to be able to price their books at 99 cents or $2.99 because they've got to cover their overhead. Another thing I want to just emphasize is once you get your book up, it's passive income, which if any of you have read my book, Creating the Perfect Lifestyle, you'll know that passive income is a critical way to build a wonderful life because you earn money whether you're on vacation, asleep, or in a coma. Passive income. Once your book is up and people are buying it, you will make money while you're asleep and while you're on vacation. It's fantastic. I just want to add this politeness and thank you. I didn't know where else to put this actually, but you know, you will come in contact with a lot of people. You'll email a lot of people. You'll talk to people on Facebook, whatever. I just think if you are overly polite and overly please and thank you and just being a good person, it just serves you so well. So I want to put that in there. Okay, part one. Gosh, we're only on to part one. Getting started. All right, here is my advice. Forget traditional publishing. Completely forget it. If you're an author or you want to be an author, traditional publishing is dying. It's almost dead. Now, I know if you're over 30, this might be a hard thing to do, is to forget it. But it's dying, and you as an author want to have nothing, you want to have nothing to do with it. Do not plan ever to have a physical book. Now, there are two exceptions. After your ebook is successful and a traditional publisher comes along and says, here's $100,000 for the hard copy rights for your book, sure, that's fine. Secondly, if you have such a high demand for your ebook that people are saying, look, I would actually like to have it in my bookcase, I'd love to have a physical copy, I'd love to write in it, whatever, then what you do is organize a pre-sold print run. You get the people who've told you they want the book, you say, okay, it's going to be $30 delivered, sign up here, confirm that you're going to pay it, or even get them to pay first, and then you go to a printing company and you get it printed, and it's all pre-sold. So forget traditional publishing. That's my strong advice. I know it's going to be hard for many people listening to this to accept, but it's the way of the past, and you do not want to be even considering it. Okay, here's some other reasons why I think you should forget traditional publishing. Half of the books printed by the publishing industry never reach 1,000 units sold. Half of the books never even get to 1,000 units. By the time every middleman has had their cut, you will be doing well to make $2 on any physical book you sell. $2. So given that half the books don't even sell 1,000, if you're doing well, you might make a couple of $1,000s. Right now, I'm making $6.28 on every book I sell. That's because I've put the price up to $8.97, and I sold 1,000 copies in the first 10 days that the book was available. Now, that was when the book was 99 cents, so of course I wasn't making $6.28. In fact, I was only making 35 cents. But you can see how at $6.28 net, that's the amount I'm making. Amazon take the other 35%. I'm going to do far better publishing through Amazon than I would in the traditional publishing industry as a first-time author. I mean, different if you're Stephen King. Of course, you know, Stephen King's going to get a $2 million advance and his books are going to be in the airport, etc. Although I suspect that in 10 years' time that's not going to be the case. In 10 years' time, I think ebooks will be the way to go, and bookshops and libraries will be a thing of the past, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. The lead time for a physical book. This is, you've finished your physical book, it's in manuscript form. This is not including trying to find an agent or a publisher. Your lead time, once you've got an agent and a publisher, and the publisher has said, yes, we want your book, it's 18 months until your book is in the bookshops. I put my second book up on Amazon 36 hours ago, and it took me under 2 hours. And as I said, I'll be putting up my third book at the end of this webinar, and it should take me under 10 minutes. Okay, let's go on to defining your niche. Now, I made a mistake, and I suspect you may make the same mistake, so I'm going to explain the mistake that I made. When I finished my book, or even before I finished it, I just thought, you know, this book is fantastic. Surely everybody is going to want a copy of my book. And, you know, it doesn't matter what age they are really. I mean, I've got a rough age group. It doesn't really matter what stage of life they're in. There's so many good things in this book. Surely everybody's going to be interested. And that simply isn't true. Even if your book is the greatest, even if you are Stephen King, even if you are John le Carré, doesn't matter who you are, your book is not for everybody. In fact, there would probably be, you know, 1 in 30 people might buy a Stephen King book because, you know, it's not mainstream enough for everybody to buy it. So you need to define your niche. That is a critical point. If you're making notes, please make that a note. Before you start marketing your book or putting it up on Amazon, you need to understand who your buyer is and who your niche what your niche market is. And then you need to market it just to your niche. And as I said, I made a mistake with this, and I went what you could call a scattergun approach and tried to market it every different way and tell people about it. And when I started going, hold on, this isn't working, my niche is the self-help market, and my niche is the people who are interested in other people like Oprah Winfrey and Tony Robbins. But when I started talking to those kinds of people, the responses I got were, oh, yeah, I've always got room on my bookshelf for another book. When's your book coming out? I'm interested. I want to buy it. And beforehand, it had been like, you know, a brick wall. So find your niche, market to your niche. Second point I want to make is your book must be excellent. It's got to be, we'll go into this a bit later, but like anything in life, and we'll talk about this in terms of your website, your marketing, everything has got to be excellent, but not perfect, and obviously not mediocre. Now, the reason why you shouldn't aim for perfection is because it'll take you 5 times as long to get the last 2% out of it. For example, on my website, lifestylebook.com, which is a key part of my marketing, I have over 60 short videos. Now, they took me, because I'd never done videos, my own videos before, they took me hours and hours and hours. You know, even a 5-minute, 7-minute video, you have to do multiple takes, and you have to get the sound right and the light right. You know, any of you who've done video know what I'm talking about. Now, they are not perfect. If you watch one of my videos, they're absolutely not perfect. If I'd gone for perfection, instead of it taking me an average of maybe 2 to 3 hours per video, it might have taken me 7 hours per video. Well, I don't have an extra 300 hours to spend to get to that super slick perfection level, and I suspect that you don't either. And same with everything that you do, your book and your marketing. Make sure it's excellent, but don't go for perfection. Right, I'm just going to check that nobody's telling me they can't hear me or anything else. I do have a couple of questions. I've got lots of questions. I'll be covering much of this. Yeah, I'm covering much of that as we go through, so I don't need to answer those questions right now. Okay, part 2. What is required to be a bestseller? Number 1, you must have a detailed plan. Just like anything in life, if you want to succeed, if you want to do something excellent, if you want to have success at this, you cannot go in slapdash and hope for the best. You need to have a detailed plan. You need to have a launch strategy, because as we'll talk about later in the webinar, if you just sort of put it up and there's no launch behind it, it'll most likely flop and nobody will hear about it. You need to have a buzz, and you need to have a launch strategy. You need to have a work ethic. So, you know, here's where the rubber meets the road. Excluding any writing that I did from the time that I finished my book until it was up on Amazon, I spent an average of 20 hours a week for 2 years. And that 20 hours a week was researching and understanding how internet marketing worked, understanding how social media worked, starting to apply that, building a website, making sure I had a blog, posting to my blog, lots of different stuff. So you need to work out, now that I've done it, obviously I could probably do that in about a quarter of the time, so maybe 500 hours. But I've got the knowledge, and I didn't start from scratch either. I've been earning money on the internet since 1999, so it's not like I started completely green. But if you've only got 2 hours a week, you can work out how many years it's going to take you to be able to get your book to the launch stage. So you need to have a work ethic, you need to have time available. And obviously, if you're like, well, I'm really busy, I only have a couple of hours available, well, that's fine, but don't expect to be an Amazon bestseller if you only have 2 hours a week available. You need to put some time and energy and effort into it. Also on work ethic, I had 0 days off in the 6 weeks prior to the end of the launch. So I worked every single day, some days 12, 14 hours a day, getting everything ready for the launch. 2 days during the launch week, I went to bed after 5 a.m. and I got up 2 hours later. So you need to have a work ethic. You also need to have a budget. If you want to be a bestseller, you need to have a budget. It doesn't have to be colossal, and we'll talk about that, but you need to have some sort of a budget. If you want to do it on a shoestring, you can, but you're unlikely to be a bestseller. You do need a website, and you need your own website with your own domain name. Part of the reason for that is you want to showcase what you're doing. You want people to be able to find you. You want it to be a calling card and a business card, but you also want people to opt in, which means to sign up on your website, i.e. give you their name and email address so that you can contact them at the time of your launch or before your launch. You need to give people a reason to opt in. So you can't just put up a website and go, it would be really great if you signed in so I can market you something. You need to give them a reason. Now, I get between 10 and 15 people per day opting in on my website, and that's without me doing anything. That just happens naturally because it's a website that's over 120 pages. Like I said, it's got 60 videos. It links to all of my social media stuff. It's under 900,000 on the Alexa rank, which means it's in the top 900,000 websites in the world, which might sound a lot, but of the hundreds of millions, it's actually really good. And so that's why I get 10 to 15 people per day registering on my website, which is obviously 4,000 to 6,000 people per year registering on my website because they're interested in what I do, and that gives me the ability to market to them later on. You also need a blog, once again with your own domain name, once again to help get your message out and create some buzz and some interest in what you're doing. I recommend WordPress. It's very easy to use and it links in nicely with your website, but if you're already familiar with another product, that's fine. You need to have autoresponders, which if you don't know much about that, then you probably should Google it. I use Aweber, who are the industry leader. Basically what it means is that somebody signs up on your website and then automatically you set up a series of messages which are obviously helpful and useful and interesting, and they add value. They give you reciprocity because people want to do something because you've done something for them. It builds trust, lots of things. So you need to understand autoresponders and use them, and that's a learning process in itself. Then I recommend you outsource that massive website that I'm talking about, my 120-page, 60-video, all bells and whistles website, lifestylebook.com. I had outsourced. I have the work done in India, and it cost me $12 an hour to have that done. So I recommend that you think about outsourcing. Okay, part 3, what happened in November 2011? Okay, so I'm a first-time author. I'm totally unknown outside of New Zealand, and even in New Zealand. I've been in the newspaper a couple of times for different things, but I'm pretty much completely unknown. I launched my book on the 11th of the 11th of the 11th, and within 10 days I was an Amazon bestseller in these categories. I was number 1 in 3 categories, I was number 2 in 1 other category, and number 4 in 2 other categories. So obviously this webinar is how I did that, and that's why you're here. Now this is interesting. My overall best rank in Kindle paid books was 920. So of the 558,000 books for sale on Amazon, the best rank I got was rank 920, and obviously rank number 1 is the best. Now, some of you might think that's relatively easy, some may not. For a first-time unknown author, it's actually very difficult. I sat around 1100, 1200 for quite a few hours, maybe a couple of days, and it took a lot to break through into the top 1,000, simply because the books that are selling in the top 1,000 are selling a lot of books. That's how you get into the top 1,000. So one of the goals I think you should write down, and if you've read my book, Creating the Perfect Lifestyle, you know I'm very big on goals. One of the goals you should write down is to get into the top 1,000 of Kindle paid books. Apart from anything else, it's almost certain that that will make you at least a top 10 bestseller in one category, and we'll talk about category shortly. Okay, part 4, what makes Amazon tick? Currently there are 17 million paperbacks for sale on Amazon. There are 7 million hardcover books and 558,000 Kindle books. Now those numbers are amazing, and we'll come to why they're amazing shortly. Here is a quote from Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon. Customers are now choosing Kindle books more often than printed books. We had high hopes this would happen eventually. By the way, this quote's from this year, earlier this year. We had high hopes this would happen eventually, but we never imagined it would happen this quickly. We've been selling print books for 15 years and Kindle books for less than 4 years. And Amazon have recently said that since April 2001, it has sold 105 Kindle books for every 100 print books sold, not counting the free Kindle books. Okay, so it's sold 5% more Kindle books for every than print books, okay? 5% more Kindle books than print books. So let's go and have a look at those numbers again. 558,000 Kindle books, 24 million paper books, and yet they're selling more Kindle books than they are paper books. Now, that should make you jump up and down with excitement, because it means that Kindle books are outselling paper books. This is just on the 17 million paperbacks, by 30 to 1. So they're selling 30 times more Kindle books than paperbacks based on the number that they have available. And let's go back a sentence. Amazon have just come out, no, sorry, this is earlier in the year. Amazon earlier in the year said they've sold 3 times as many Kindle books this year as they did during the same period last year. So this trend is massively increasing. It's going exponential. Now this news release at the bottom here is just a few days old. This is Thanksgiving Friday, 2011, so that's what, a week and a half ago. Amazon sold 4 times the number of Kindle products than a year ago. Now Kindle products, they mean the physical Kindle. They're not talking about books. They're talking about the electronic Kindle that people read on. 4 times the number than they did a year ago. This thing is just going like a steam train, and it's going exponential. So like I said at the beginning, we're at the golden age, and we're at the forefront, and now is the time to be jumping on. Okay, let's just talk about Amazon royalties quickly. You can choose either 35% or 70% royalty. So that means if you sell a book for $10, you can either choose to get $3.50 or $7. Now you'd think that was a no-brainer, but Amazon don't, for example, down here, do not allow you. Actually, maybe I'll make that a spotlight. That'd be more fun, wouldn't it? You can't do 70% on a 99-cent book. You have to do 35%. Also note, Amazon can discount your book. So if you sell it for $10, there's nothing stopping Amazon selling it for $8. But the great thing is that if you have told them it's 70% of $10, they will give you $7 every time you sell the book, even if they're selling it at $8. So they give you 70% of your list price. But, big but here, Amazon will price match your book. So that means if your book is $10 on Amazon and 99 cents on iTunes, Amazon will and are clever enough to see that your book is 99 cents somewhere else. They will take your price down to 99 cents and they will pay you 35%. So you thought you were selling it on Amazon at $10 and you're getting 70%. Amazon notice you're selling your book elsewhere at 99 cents, immediately they notice that your price goes down to 99 cents on Amazon, and they only pay you 35% of 99 cents. iTunes, I haven't done a lot on iTunes other than the fact my book is there. They take 30% regardless of the price. Now I'm going to come to my sales later. I only sold 50 copies of my book in the 10 days of my launch. So part of the reason that is I pushed everybody towards Amazon because I wanted them to buy it from Amazon. But it also, as we'll talk about later, iTunes have a much lower market share than Amazon do when it comes to ebooks. Okay, how do Amazon determine their bestseller rank? So we're talking about the 900, I got to 920 in total, I got to number 1 in 3 categories, etc. How do they determine that? Well, they don't tell you. We have to guess and we have to do research. But one thing they will tell you is that it's based on sales. The bestseller rank is based on sales by exponential moving average. Now don't glaze over. All that means is that they will recognize books you sold last month and the month before, but they'll put a greater weight on the books you sold today, yesterday, and last week. So the closer to today it is, the higher they will weight the sales of your book. So if you sold a truckload a month ago and you've hardly sold any this month by the 5th of December, your book is not going to plummet. They will recognize that you sold lots of books last month and they will hold your rank up. So that's the most important thing, is sales. I'm guessing, but I think 99% of your rank is sales. But another part of it is reviews. If you've got tons of positive reviews, that will help your rank as well, but it's far below sales. So reviews are important, and obviously 5-star reviews are important, and getting them more reviews than less. If you've got 100 reviews, you're going to get ranked higher than if you had 10 reviews, all other things being equal. Now I seem to have lost my ability to turn the page. Okay. So that is the Amazon bestseller algorithm. I thought I had some more on that actually. I think there must be some more on that. There are some other things which I'm going to go to them now. Okay, so here is my book. You can see I've got 35 customer reviews. Now there's this like button as well. 53 people have clicked that they've liked the reviews. They actually come here and click that button. Now that is also part of the ranking, but once again a very small part. If we scroll down, and you can do this with any book, this is the description, by the way, that I'm just racing through. You're welcome to have a look at my description later on. That's basically Amazon gives you a sales page. Okay, right now my book is ranked 13,892. That's because I put the price up to $8.97, and right now I'm at number 3 and at number 4. So I've lost my number 1 ranking right now, which I expected as I put the price up from first 99 cents to $4.99, now $8.97, but of course I'm making much more. Then we come into the reviews, and I want to scroll right past there and go to tags, which you will find at the bottom. Now I'm going to talk more about tags further on, but in my research, tags do not increase your Amazon rank at all, 0. So tags are important for another reason we'll come to, but they are not part of your rank. Okay. Okay, understanding Amazon categories. I've got another couple of goals for you. You need to have a goal of being in top 10 ranking in a relevant category. And obviously once you've achieved that, then your second goal is to get to number 1 in a relevant category. So what is a relevant category? If your book is on fishing, you do not want to have it in the craft section, because 1, people will get annoyed with you, and 2, Amazon will get annoyed with you, and 3, you're not going to find your niche buyers. We'll come to the reason why you might want to miscategorize it, but I don't recommend it at all. How many categories are there? There are around about, no, I couldn't find this on Google, so I had to do a quick count up, and I wasn't going to spend hours counting them. So there's around about 300 categories in the non-fiction section of Amazon, and there's around 100 categories in the fiction section. Now, there are no obscure categories, and by that I mean if you are into knitting toy soldiers, you will not find an Amazon category, how to knit toy soldiers or something similar, for the simple reason that unless there's a good amount of people looking for a certain type of book, Amazon are not going to create a category for you. So the categories are not obscure, and as I said, Amazon will only create a category if there's demand. If there's demand, then there's going to be a lot of people looking, therefore there'll be a lot of people putting their books in there. So don't think you can get to number 1 in an Amazon category because you're going to choose the most way out weird category and then you're going to write a book for that category. It's just not going to happen. Category research. It is worth researching your categories because your book can and possibly will fit into well more than 2 categories. Amazon allow you, and we'll look at this when I upload my book, Amazon allow you to choose 2 categories for your book when you upload it. So you need to be careful what category you choose, although having said that, you can change categories. But the category research, like I said, your book might quite comfortably fit into 6 or 7 different categories. And obviously my book, being 266 pages long with multiple different topics within the self-help genre, can fit and did fit quite nicely into 6 or 7 different categories. So I had to be thinking about what category I wanted it in for 2 reasons. One, you want to rank high in that category, so you can pick a category where the top 10 best-selling book ranks at, say, 10,000. You remember I got to 902, so if the top 10, if number 10 in that category ranks at 10,000, then you've got a much better chance of being in the top 10. Having said that, of course, you've got to make sure the category is relevant for the reasons we talked about earlier. You don't want buyers getting annoyed, you don't want Amazon getting annoyed with you. So do your category research, and I think we'll talk about changing categories later in the webinar. Back to Amazon, there's this cool thing called popular highlights which you can use to research, and it tells you what your readers like about your book. So let's go to, once again, my book, and here we are where it says popular highlights. And these are things that people, I mean, Amazon is very clever. They know, they've got this thing that when you go into your Amazon Kindle or the Kindle software on your computer and you highlight something using your Kindle, or you highlight it on your computer, next time you log in, that goes back to Amazon. And I suppose you can turn this off for privacy reasons. I don't know how, and I don't know anybody who has, but it tells Amazon what part of the book you have highlighted. And so 4 people who have bought my book have highlighted, I can have any lifestyle I choose. Another 4 people have highlighted, if you never dream, you can never have a dream come true. Now this is really interesting for 2 reasons. One, I can tell what kind of things in my book people are enjoying and highlighting, but also if I'm wanting to look at a competitor's book, I can also find out what kind of things people are enjoying in that book, and that might cause me to go, oh, I haven't got a chapter in my book on that, and I need to because it's relevant to my book. It's just competitive research, popular highlights. Okay, moving right along. Okay, so we did back to categories. Find a relevant category where you can easily, no, easily is probably the wrong term, where you can more easily get into the top 10. So check the rank of the number 10 book in that category. And like I say, if you've find that it's 10,000, then you've got a better chance, much better chance, than if you find the number 10 book in that category is 1,200, because you've obviously got to get into a far lower position or sell far more books on Amazon to get into the top 10. Okay, so right now, for example, I think I'm number 3 in college and university education. I looked this morning, and the overall rank of that book, the overall rank of the top selling book in college and university education is 3,529. So obviously when I was 920, I was well under this figure, and I was number 1 by a mile. So if I want to be number 1 again in this category, I have to get my ranking down from, what was it, 13,000 something, down to under 3,000. That's how I get to be number 1. Simple. You can swap categories. Remember my categories, and here they are. I got self-help, stress management, college and university education, Christian education, all number 1. They're 3 separate categories. Self-help creativity, number 2. Self-help motivational, and self-help personal transformation. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories. The reason I got into all those categories is that I changed my category, which means I went to my Amazon where I log in and put the details of my book up, and I tell Amazon I want to change the category, and it gets changed, and it takes about 12 to 24 hours for that to filter through, and then my book is listed in a new category, which is fine for me, as I said, because I've got a very broad book which fits into a lot of categories. If you've got a very tight niche, you may not be able to do that, but generally you should be able to switch categories, and that is especially useful as if you've picked a category and then you find the competition is so stiff in that category that you can't get in the top 10, but it's relevant that you're in another category. Well, you just swap categories. So just again, a reminder, this is how people find your book. Do not put your book on fishing in the craft section, because the right people are not going to find your book. If anybody sees it at number 8 in the craft section and it says, you know, go fishing on the Great Barrier Reef, no one's going to buy it because they're in there looking for craft books. So don't miscategorize. And as I said, I'm fortunate with my book that it fitted into a lot of categories. Okay, part 5. An hour and 42 minutes through. Now, how to become a bestseller. As I said, Amazon use a closely guarded secret ranking algorithm, but we know that it's 99% based on sales. Here is another key thing. It is calculated hourly. Now, if you think about the New York Times bestseller list, which is calculated weekly, and before the advent of the internet, or before even Amazon got better at this, they were recalculating daily and weekly. Now, every single hour, my rank will change, and so will yours. Hourly, yeah. So the key thing is, therefore, is to sell a large amount of books in a short time. That is the key, and write that down. That's the key to being a bestseller, to sell a ton of books in a very short time. If you're going to sell 1,000 books, make sure it's within 1 week, not within a month. If you sell 1,000 books in a week, you will almost certainly be a bestseller. If you sell 1,000 books in a month, spread over the month, you most likely will not. So, just going again on their formula, 99% of the formula is sales based on an exponential moving average, which means the latest sales are the most important. The ones you sold last hour and 2 hours ago and 4 hours ago and a day ago are way, way, way more important than the books you sold last month. Then the next important thing is reviews. How many reviews you've got? Are they positive? Are they 5-star? Then the voting on the reviews, which is, once again, this box up here, where did people like it? Did they like the reviews? Sorry, no, I take that back. The likes is number 4. That's what I just talked about. This here is the likes. That's number 4. Voting on reviews, I'll show you separately. Okay, so down to my reviews. Now, the most helpful review comes up first. Now, this is interesting. This is the key bit here that I want you to look at. Was this review helpful to you? Now, when somebody clicks yes, that lifts this number here. 22 people out of 23 found that review helpful. The more yeses you get on the reviews, that helps your ranking slightly, but it also helps your reviewers, and it obviously helps if somebody goes, oh, look, 22 people have read this review and they like it. So that is obviously totally separate to the like button at the top. How do you do this? Well, obviously you like every review that is positive and encourage people who you're connecting with to do the same. And also encourage friends and, just people you're partnered with. Okay, now another important thing. The ranking of your book is relational. That means it relates to the books around it. If your book is ranked 10,000 right now, your rank can go to 9,000 or 11,000 without you selling one single book, for the simple reason that those other books ranked around you didn't, well, you're not going to go probably to 9,000 without selling any. Maybe you sold one book and you went from 10,000 to 9,000 because none of the books in that other 1,000 sold a book in that hour. So just remember, your rank can change even if you sold 10 books yesterday, 10 books the day before, 10 books today, and let's say you're doing that and your rank is 3,000. Even if you're selling 10 books every single day, your rank may increase or decrease because the other books around you are having different things happen to them in terms of their sales. So it's relational. Okay, so here's the motivation stuff. It is your duty to be a bestseller if you possibly can be. If you become an Amazon top 10 bestseller or even a #1 bestseller, it's something you are going to be able to tell your grandchildren about, something you can put on your CV, something you can take immense pride in. You should be aiming to be a top 10 bestseller, and you need to put a plan in place and have the work ethic to get yourself into the bestseller ranks. Not only that, but of course, a ranking improves the ranking. If you're in the top 10, then lots of people go to Amazon and browse the top 10, and if you're #1, people are going to go, oh look, this book's #1, it's got 30 positive reviews, I've never heard of the author, but at 99 cents or $2.99, I'm just going to buy it anyway. So the higher your ranking, it takes on a life of its own, and it keeps selling and selling and selling. Amazon also puts you on the hot new releases list if you're in the top 10. So when I was in the top 10 for self-help, I went on the hot new releases self-help list, which of course people look at to buy a book. Once again, they buy your book, it increases the ranking. We could call it a virtuous circle. Okay, so let's just talk about what you can and can't do. With ebooks, you cannot buy multiple copies of your own book to improve your rank. I like to think that I'm somebody who can find a way to get the best out of a system. Well, you cannot buy multiple copies to improve your rank. Now, don't get caught with this, because Amazon do allow you to buy multiple copies of your book, but they don't class them as sales until you accept the book, and you can only accept one book. When you go to accept the second book, Amazon say you've already purchased this book. So you've spent the money, and they will issue you a gift certificate, but you cannot buy multiple copies and expect it to improve your rank. You can buy one copy and it will improve your rank, but that's it. The same happens with gifting as well. If you gift, let's say you've got 10 cousins and you're like, right, I'm listing my book and I'm going to gift a copy to all of my cousins. That's going to get me at least 10 sales this hour. No, it isn't, because Amazon do not recognize those sales as sales until your cousins go in to the Amazon system and accept their gift, which means they've got to receive the email. If they haven't got an Amazon account, they've got to open one, they've got to receive it, and obviously if they're not sitting by their computer that hour, they're not going to buy it that hour either, and if they can't be bothered, you're not going to get the sale. Okay, so just to re-emphasize that, you do not get a sale, and it does not improve your rank until somebody you gift it to accepts it and receives it. Okay, good. And I've just said all of this. Okay, now another issue is that people, and I know this because I sent this out to so many people and I had to explain it so many times to people, and people would come back, look, I really want to buy your book, but I don't own a Kindle. And this is after I'd said probably 3 times in 3 separate emails in bold, you do not need an ebook reader, you do not need a Kindle. Okay, so it's quite likely you are unclear about this too. You do not need an ebook reader or a Kindle in order to purchase and read a Kindle book. And the reason is simply because when you buy a book from Amazon as an ebook, Amazon gives you free software to read it on your computer or your phone. They give it to you whether you're on a Mac or a PC. They will give you software, and it's really great software as well. It's a bit like reading a book, and it's certainly miles better than reading it as a PDF. But the thing is, I'm emphasizing it to you, but you're going to have to emphasize it to your buyers and potential buyers, because take it from me, they will go, I'd love to buy your book, I can't, I don't own a Kindle. Well, you're going to have to tell them 3 times and tell them in different ways till they get it. You do not need an ebook reader or a Kindle to read my book. Okay, so I googled this, and Amazon say that 80% of their buyers of their ebooks, do in fact own a Kindle. So it is the bulk of people who buy Kindle books do in fact own the physical Kindle. But that's not to stop you marketing to the people you know and encouraging them to buy your book if they don't have a Kindle, because they can read it on their computer. Okay, another great thing about Amazon, and why the 99 cents, which we'll come to later, works so well, is Amazon have this great thing, which you don't have to do anything about, it just helps you. They have this thing called people who bought this book also bought. And so if we go up, here we are, customers who bought this item also bought all of these books, and there's 19 times 5, so what's that, 100. Now, interestingly, of course, if I go onto this book, Simplify by Joshua Becker, my book will come up down here because people who bought Joshua Becker's book also bought my book, which means that somebody is browsing on Amazon, they're looking at one of these other books, and my book comes down the bottom, and they go, oh, well, that looks interesting, I think I'll buy it. Interestingly, all of these books, 99 cents, $2.99, 99, $3.95 for 99 cents, that's interesting, isn't it? To me, I hadn't really noticed that before, but the people who bought my books are buying cheap books, are buying 99-cent books, which makes me think perhaps I should lower my price again, but I'm still experimenting with my price. Okay, so that helps you when you don't have to do anything about it. Okay, getting reviews. We already said that's the second most important thing about your rank, is getting reviews, and obviously getting 5- and 4-star reviews are most important. How do you get reviews? Well, you give copies away before your book comes out, and you ask people for reviews. You send your book to relevant Amazon reviewers in your niche. You ask your Twitter followers, if they are bloggers or book reviewers, to review your book. You ask specific bloggers in your niche. You can exchange reviews, which is you buy somebody else's book, they buy yours, and you both review each other's book, or before you launch, you both give each other copies of your book and you both review it. You want to have reviews right at the start when you launch your book. Okay, now we come to the nitty-gritty, the bottom line, if you want to be an Amazon bestseller. Right now, And like I said, we're in the golden age right now, and soon it's going to be a lot harder. Based on my research and my experience of the last month, if you sell 250 books in a 24-hour period, you will almost certainly get to the top 10 bestseller rank, and most likely top 3 in one relevant category, unless the category you've chosen is jam-packed with top-selling books, which obviously I don't recommend. Now, that, depending on who you are and where you're at, that number of books may seem easy or insurmountable. If you think it's easy, please trust me, it isn't, because that's 250 books sold in a 24-hour period. Okay, this is what happened with me. On the first day of my launch and selling my book at 99 cents, this is what happened. This is within probably 4 hours of each other, all these things happened. I had one of my partners who is in the self-help niche. So this is not somebody who is interested in fishing books. This is somebody who has a list of people who are interested in self-help. They sent an email that I wrote for them to all of their people, over 3,000 of them. Partner number 2, exactly the same. Self-help niche, I wrote the email exactly the way I wanted it. They sent it to their people, 3,000 of them. Me, I have over 3,100 people who have opted in on my website. I sent it to all 3,100 people. Of course, they are the warmest group of people. They know who I am and they're interested. I have over 20,000 Twitter followers. I sent, I don't know how many tweets, maybe 20 or 30 in 4 hours, telling them my book was available. I have over 1,600 Facebook friends, and a lot of those Facebook friends, perhaps because I'm in the self-help niche, are very helpful, and a lot of them offered to help me on launch day. A lot of them said I could write on their wall, etc., etc. I'm not sure how many, but let's say 100 of my Facebook friends helped me to market on that day by telling their friends. I did a very little bit on LinkedIn. So here we are. We've got 9,100 people got a direct email to their inbox, over 20,000 people who were following on Twitter. Of course, not all of them are going to read it, but a potential 20,000 Twitter followers, tons of Facebook people, plus, of course, I'm active on Facebook groups, and I told Facebook groups, I don't know how many thousand people heard on Facebook and LinkedIn. These are all people in my niche market, and I hit them all in a 4-hour period, and still my best day was 250 to 300 sales. Now, you know, just have a look at those figures and work out how hard it is to sell 250 books in one 24-hour period. Now, there's lots of reasons. I think I go into them on the next slide. Yeah. Now, will I do it smarter next time? Absolutely. I was learning as I went. A lot of it was seat in my pants. A lot of it I didn't do as well as I should have. I now have much better strategies. Yeah, I'll be much smarter about it, and I'll be much more effective next time. Like I said, the very first time I'd ever put a book on Amazon, I didn't do things quite right. But nevertheless, I hit thousands and thousands of people all on the same day, and I still only sold 250 to 300 in my best day. Why is it hard to get sales? Okay, not everyone opens the email, perhaps 30 to 40%. So that's even getting the email open. Of those, of course, they don't open it on the same day. Some people open it the day you send it, some people the next day, a few the next day. Some people who open it don't want to buy it. Of course, some people want to buy it but don't have an Amazon account, and they're like, well, I'd like to buy it, but really I'm too busy. I don't have the 3 minutes it takes to open an Amazon account, can't be bothered. And then, of course, there's this big group of people who think, oh, I would like to buy that book, but I don't have a Kindle or an ebook reader, and you've got to educate them, and they're not buying it. So 250 sales in one day is a big deal. So that is why you need a launch plan. That is why you need a big presence on social media. That's why you need an opt-in list, people who have given you their name and email address on your website. And that's why you need lots of hard work to get you there, and that's why it's helpful to have partners to help you. And also remember Amazon's exponential moving average. You don't want to spread that 250, whoops, you don't want to spread that 250 over a number of days. You want to hit them all at once. Okay, self-promotion. Let's just race through this because we already had an hour. I love this quote from P.T. Barnum. Without promotion, something terrible happens. Nothing. Without promotion of your book, it will flop. Period. You might as well write that down. If you do not promote your book, it will flop. That's the end of that. I know because I've talked to people who have done it and it flops. Now, as I said in the introduction, unlike a traditional publisher, no one is paid to promote you. If you're going to be a self-published author, unless you pay a publicist a lot of money, which I don't recommend, you are the one who is going to have to promote yourself, and you're going to have to get past this thing that we have, that many of us have, about, self-promotion is somehow beneath us, or it's going to make me look silly, or I'm just not out there enough, and I'm too thin-skinned, and it's going to hurt when people reject me. And there is a ground wave of thinking that self-promotion is somehow unethical, or there is, and many people on this call probably have some reservations about self-promotion. I asked you when you registered to read the chapter in my book, which is titled XXXX Yourself. I'm not going to tell you what that chapter is about because it will spoil it, which is why I've put 4 X's in there. But please read that book. It's relevant to this topic. That's all I can say about that. You cannot be thin-skinned. This morning when I woke up, I had a 1-star review on Amazon from somebody who'd read my book. They didn't like it. They specifically didn't like that I included bonus chapters in the middle of my book talking about my faith, and they gave me a 1-star review. Well, that's just water off a duck's back to me. It has to be. If I worry about every person who's saying negative things or concerned about my methods or whatever, then I'm never going to get anywhere because I'm too scared of self-promotion and too scared of putting myself out there, which you just cannot afford to be. If this is too uncomfortable for you, then you're going to have a difficult job being a self-published author. Simple as that. Okay. Here's some general advice. Run with your passions. If you've read my lifestyle book, you know that I'm huge on this. Run with what you're passionate about and what you love. Write about what you love. Anybody who has been listening to internet marketers will have received this shockingly bad advice. And I know there's plenty of you who are jaded from listening to internet marketers. Even the big gurus, surprisingly, will say this to you from time to time. Sell other people's stuff. Find a profitable niche, or I will find you a profitable niche. Come and buy my program and I will show you a place to sell stuff to other people. That is just shockingly terrible advice because you're not invested in it, you're not excited about it, you don't leap out of bed in the morning going, yippee, I get to sell a widget for $5 to people I don't know and don't care about. You cannot get excited about that. It's shockingly bad advice. Never buy an information product or any other course from somebody who tells you to find a profitable niche and sell other people's stuff. You need to be only doing what you love doing, which means if you're going to be a self-published author, don't think, oh, it seems like nobody's written a book about fishing. I might as well write one or get one written for me. If you're not into fishing, forget it. You're already passionate about some things. Write a book on it, because one of the wonderful things about the internet is there's now a mechanism for delivering your book to people who have the same passions as interests as you. And it doesn't matter if only 1 in 10,000 people is interested in what you're interested in. 20 years ago it did matter, because where are you going to find that 1 in 10,000 people? But now your book is on Amazon in a specific tight niche category. People are going to find your book. Woohoo! I mean, that in itself is so exciting. For the first time ever in history, You can market what you love and people will find it. We're talking about Amazon and books, but it relates to everything on the internet. It's a very exciting time to be alive. Okay, how I promote. Now, one of the things I do with self-promotion and how I promote is I make sure it's a win-win. So, for example, on my website, lifestylebook.com, if somebody goes there for the first time, they are prompted to download my free guide, which is a 53-page cut-down version of my book. Now, if you can't bring yourself to spend $8.97 on my book, then please go to lifestylebook.com and download the 53-page free version. It's obviously cut down. My book is 266 pages, so it's less than 1/5 the size. But in exchange for that, you give me your name and email address and your permission, your express permission to email you. Now, that doesn't mean you can't immediately unsubscribe. You can. You can unsubscribe at the click of a button because I use Aweber, who are the industry leader. They don't allow spam. You can sign up on my website and within 5 minutes unsubscribe, and there's no way I can ever contact you again. So that's one way I promote. The second is lifestyle tips. Also, if you go to my website, you'll be prompted, are you interested in receiving a lifestyle tip every 3 days? And this is useful stuff that I've got a ton of great feedback on. And the point that I'm making is that when you set up a website, you need to give somebody something in return for them giving you your name and email address, and that's called a win-win, something that's of great value to them, something that's going to impress them, something that's going to give them a warm feeling about you, and in exchange, they give you the express permission to email them, which is perfect. Because if they're interested, if people go to my website, lifestylebook.com, they're not interested in game fishing. They're actually interested in self-help and personal development. So great, I give them something they want. They give me their name and email address. That gives me permission to email them and talk to them later on about stuff I've got for sale. But I don't do that for ages and ages and ages, sometimes weeks and weeks and weeks. They don't know I've got anything for sale until I say, well, here's my ebook. Okay, press releases. I'm losing my train of thought actually. Promotion, right. Press releases. A key part of promoting yourself is telling the press what you're up to. I issued 3 press releases pre and during my launch, and that's how I got onto this national 6 o'clock news. That is how I got into the newspaper, and in 1 hour and 10 minutes I'm on national radio. And that's all because of press releases. We've talked about using partners to email for you, and I also recommend you sell your book on your website as well as Amazon, because people may want to buy it there. Now, I am about to do some self-promotion, which is going to be a win-win. I have spent so much time putting together this webinar that I have decided to write an ebook with at least 5 times as much information in it on this exact subject, how to be an Amazon bestseller. The book will include a step-by-step business plan to be a bestseller within 6 months. This is not a quick and easy process. You are not going to be an overnight bestseller if you're a nobody. It takes time. You should know that already if you listen to the rest of the webinar. A step-by-step launch plan, my email swipe copy, which means the most effective emails I use to get people to open their emails and click and therefore purchase my book. The press releases the exact press releases that I used in my press release strategies. My latest research and findings. I can only touch the surface in this webinar because it's only an hour and a half long. How to use Google, Facebook and LinkedIn to advertise, that should be to promote your book. How to use Amazon Internet tools to find your niche customers. So this is, you already know what your niche is. If it's game fishing, you already know them. That's your niche. But how do you find your customers? So I'm going to show you how to use Internet tools to do that, and how to use social media, once again, to find your niche customers if it's game fishing. Facebook strategies, and finally, how to make money with short books on Amazon, which is what I'm going to be loading up at the end of this webinar. Okay, so I am going to release this book by the end of February. So, obviously I've got to write the book, and I would rather over under promise and over deliver. So I'm going to have this book done by the end of February. It's called How to Become a #1 best-selling author. It's basically all the stuff I'm talking to here times 5 in much more detail. I am going to give you a minute to go in to lifestyle.com, lifestylebook.com authors, and put your name and email address in. Now, you are not committing to buying the book. You can, 1, opt out at any time, like I said, with 1 click, and 2, this is only saying that you are quite interested in it. So there's no commitment whatsoever. You are not purchasing the book. You are not giving me your credit card details. You're just giving me your name and email address and saying, yes, I'm interested. Please let me know when the book comes out, and then I'll make a decision. So I need a glass of water. I'm going to give you 1 minute. Please remember, once you go in and sign up, you will get an automated email that comes straight away. You need to click on the automated email to confirm. That's how Aweber works. It's known as double opt-in. You need to click on that email to confirm, otherwise you will not be confirmed. So I'm leaving this up for a minute while I have a glass of water. Lifestylebook.com authors, please sign in. Sorry if my sound was breaking up, Mary. I'm not sure what happened there. Just looking at the questions while I have a glass of water. Some of them I'll answer shortly. All right, thank you. That glass of water was great. Like I say, I've got to speak on the radio in an hour, so I hope I've got some voice left. Thank you for those of you who have signed in at lifestylebook.com authors for the book. I will say up front, the book is not going to be 99 cents. I don't know how much it's going to be, but you know, it's going to be a book that is, you know, it's really got tons of value and money-making potential in it. So yeah, I'll let you know about it obviously before the end of February. And don't worry, you will not get inundated with emails. I'll just be letting you know when it's available. Okay, I'm just going to race through this. Reciprocity is a key psychological trigger, but also a key to success in general and success in promotion. If someone does something for you, you naturally want to do something for them. That's just how life works. Also, successful people help other people to become more successful. Here are 4 people who I think are on this call who demonstrate this, or I've demonstrated with them. Karina Burns, God bless her, gifted 27 copies of my book. Now, I've never met Karina. I don't know her hardly at all, but she liked my book and gifted 27 copies of it. And, you know, that, without me wanting it to, creates a desire to reciprocate. So yesterday she sent me an email asking for my help, and I spent 15 minutes rewriting something for her. And she hasn't got her book up yet, but when she has her book up on Amazon, I will be buying it and gifting it and putting a review up and everything else, simply because I can't help myself. The law of reciprocity. Richard Blakeborough, who is also on this call, gifted, he's a coach, he gifted a copy to every one of his coaching clients and has written a great review of my book. And here I am reciprocating, telling you about him and his book, Life After a Bypass, which is on Amazon right now for $2.99. He had open heart surgery at the age of 42, and this book, very honest, very interesting book, Life After a Bypass, is available on Amazon right now. Clint Arthur, What They Teach You at the Wharton Business School. His book is on at 99 cents. he bought my book and gave me a glowing review. Once again, I want to reciprocate. So that's, here I am telling you about it. I've bought his book. I'm going to be putting up a review by the end of the weekend. Richard Kelly, I think, is also on this call. He did the same. Bought my book, he was one of the people who helped me on Facebook, told lots of his Facebook friends about it, gave me a glowing review. His book I've read his book as well. Did I say I've read Clint Arthur's book? I have read Clint Arthur's book, finished it last night. It's great, recommend it, 99 cents. Richard Kelly's book, A 3-Hour Appetite, very interesting, has motivated me to do some more exercise, 99 cents. All these 3 books are a no-brainer. And I'm going to be giving 4 5-star reviews to these guys. Thank you, and I reciprocate. But the point I'm making is that if you do something for other people, they will reciprocate. If you help other successful people to become more successful, they will help you. So here is a suggestion. Buy and review my book. Do the same for others. It will come back to you. Now, the reason I say buy and review my book, I simply will not be able to help myself if you send me an email saying, I bought your book and I've just put up a 5-star review. If you then email me the next day and go, look, I need 20 minutes, half an hour help with something, I cannot help myself. I will help you. That's just the way it is. And, I'm not just saying that so you do something for me, do it to other people as well. If you can get hold of, even a guru or somebody at the top of their game and say, look, I've done this for you, they will just go out of their way to help you. It's just the way it is. It's just human nature. Okay, part 7, social media. I have, as of this morning or yesterday, 20,353 Twitter followers. That's part of the reason I've spent 20 hours a week for the last 2 years getting up to speed on this stuff. I've got over 3,000 likes on my website, lifestylebook.com. I've had 1,135 people download my free guide, which I was talking about earlier. 1,338 people have registered and have received my free lifestyle tips email service. And as I said earlier, I've got 10 to 15 people per day register on my website, and that's without me advertising it, without me doing anything. So this is powerful social media stuff, and that's a key part of your launch, is having a presence on social media, building up a following on social media, and using it in that key launch phase when you're trying to get those 250 people to buy your book on one day. On it goes. My YouTube channel has thousands of views, and the most popular video, that should be video, my apologies, self-talk, has over 1,546 views. That's just one video of I think I've got 40 something on there. My latest blog post has 406 Facebook likes and another 406 Facebook shares. That's just a coincidence, they're the same number. Often they're 380, 410, whatever. So, the reason why I have an impact when I go out to launch something is I've got this type of following. And if you want to have an impact when you launch, you need to develop a following, which is why I suggest you're going to need 6 months, even if you're starting with some form of, if you're not starting from absolute scratch, or even if you're starting from scratch, you need to be serious, and it's going to take you a few months. So I have branded all of my social media with Lifestyle Book so that people know what they're on about, and then they know what they're getting. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, MySpace, LinkedIn, Dig, everything's Lifestyle Book. Facebook is a key part of your social media. There's just one quick tip. When you befriend somebody on Facebook, Facebook actually says to you, you are now friends with John Smith. Write on their wall. Well, hardly anybody writes on my wall when I befriend them, but Facebook tell you to. It's part of how Facebook works. Now, I'm not saying you should go and say, hi, Bob, buy my book. No, you go on their wall and you say, look, my book, I'm working on a book right now. It's going to be out in a few months. This is the title of it. That's all you need to say, is put a thing in their mind, a little anchor in their mind. Oh, this Ollie Hille, he's an author. He's got a book coming out called Creating the Perfect Lifestyle. Interesting. Then 6 months later, 3 months later, when Bob sees that you've put a post up, he might like it or comment on it or be ready for some interaction with you. Another tip, which I'll be talking much more about Facebook tips in my book, but create an event, a Facebook event for your book launch. There's some amazingly cool things you can do with a Facebook event for your book launch. Aweber, as I said before, the industry leader in autoresponders, they guarantee your email delivery and they enable you to set up multiple emails to people over maybe once a week, once a fortnight, every 3 days, whatever. You're building up trust and reciprocity, you're giving them something useful, and they are more likely to want to interact with you and buy from you. Facebook, you should be adding 5 people per day in your niche. And it's a win-win situation. You're giving them value, you're giving them your friendship, you're commenting on their posts, etc., etc. They're doing the same to you. Twitter, follow 100 people per day in your niche. Most of them, many of them will follow you back. Okay, part 8, you need to launch. You cannot just flop out of bed one morning and go, oh, I think I'll just tiredly put my book on Amazon and see what happens. I'll tell you what will happen. Mum and Grandma will buy your book. You will buy yourself a book. Your total sales will be 3. Your rank will be 558,000. That's what will happen. You need to launch. Okay, I did spend $2,000 on Jeff Walker's product launch formula. It's great, but it's $2,000. Frankly, you're better off buying my book, How to Be a #1 Amazon bestseller, because I put the relevant stuff to ebooks in that book. But if you've got $2,000 kicking around, it is worth buying Jeff Walker's product launch formula. I learned a lot of my strategies and the stuff that I did from that. It's a very big course. It's great. Get reviews before publication. I'm not going to go into my Amazon launch drama. I'm running out of time. I talked about using email partners and joint venture partners. 99 cents is a killer strategy right now because the press were all over it when they knew I was selling a book for 99 cents. It's very easy for people to purchase. There's more and more books available actually on Amazon for 99 cents, but this killer strategy is not going to be around for long. It is a killer strategy that works great. It'll get you in the top ranking more quickly. Just do it for 9 or 10 days and then put your book up to full price like I have. Okay, Amazon look inside. Let's just go and have a quick look at that. Here it is here. You click on my book and you can, for free, read the first 26 pages. The first 10% rather. For me it's 26 pages. My latest book that I put up 2 days ago, it was 9 hours until it was live. I'm going to show you how to put one up shortly. The moment you press the button, it'll be about 9 and 12 to 12 hours and it'll be live. You can similarly make price changes. You can go from 99 cents to $10, and once again you can do that within 12 hours. Okay, the 80-20 rule. Amazon are 70 to 80% of the ebook market. The rest is primarily Barnes & Noble and Apple. I sold nearly 1,100 books in my launch period, a 10-day launch period on Amazon. I sold 50 books on Apple. Here it is here, nearly 1,100 on Amazon, 50 on iTunes. I sold 10 on my website. Mind you, they were at $4.99. I didn't discount them at all. iTunes, if you've got an Apple-related book, definitely put it on iTunes. If you haven't, I'm not sure you should even bother. iTunes is slow, it's difficult, the support is 3 times slower than Amazon. I'm sorry to say, they make great products, but iTunes iBook Store is not great, and unless you need to be on there, it's a ton of work getting it up, and you need to have it in a separate format. It needs to be professionally formatted. Do some research on it. My advice is just go on Amazon. You, the rock star, Amazon's ranking, as I say, it changes every hour. It's awesome to see your book climbing like a single in the pop charts. Here's some other tips. Review other people's books in your niche, because Amazon allows you to list your book as part of your review. So I'll talk about that more in my book, but review other people's books in your niche. Amazon tags. We've talked about tags. And these are these guys down here, right at the bottom. The reason tags are important is if somebody types into Amazon inspirational, my book will come up because it's been tagged. If you type fishing into Amazon, it will not come up because my book has not been tagged. You can only tag 15 times. The reason I have 95 tags is because I've got people I know to add other tags. So that's a good thing to do. The more tags you have, the better, because that's more searches and more categories and more possibilities for somebody typing it in. Okay, good. So my tag research, I've done some research on this. It does not help with your ranking, but it does help people find while searching, and on Amazon, but also on Google, because Google, of course, finds books on Amazon. You want to choose tags with the largest number of potential hits, obviously. If fishing has more hits than fishing tackle, you probably want to have both, but go with fishing. There's a place where you can see what the most popular tags are. We don't have time to go into that. Careful of Amazon's regional pricing. For example, people could not buy my book in Singapore. Also, when I had it at 99 cents, if you were in Africa and parts of Asia, it came up as $2.99. Because Amazon won't sell for 99 cents in some places, so be careful of regional pricing. Okay, professional help. I had my book cover designed by Killer Covers. Generally it costs $97. It's worth doing right. You can do it yourself. If you're great at graphics, do it yourself. Otherwise, remember, we're looking at excellence, not mediocrity. I had my book converted professionally. It cost me $350 US. I needed that partly because those 266 pages would have been a mammoth job for me to do it right, and I needed it converted into the EPUB format for Apple. If you have your book, I would recommend not bothering with that. I'll show you how easy it is to convert it. It won't be quite as good as a professional conversion, but it'll still be pretty good. Get your book professionally edited. Please do not scrimp on this. I recommend verlaine.com. She's a Facebook friend. She edited my book. She did a great job. Her name is Verlaine. Verlaine.com. What next? My book is currently $8.97 and I get 70% of that. So it means I get $6.28 every time somebody buys my book. I'm now experimenting with using Google ads, Facebook ads and LinkedIn ads because I make $6.28 net, and if it costs me $1 or $2 in advertising, I'm going to make money. I'm researching that. I'm testing it at the moment. I will be talking about my results in my book. Short books on Amazon. I'm starting to get into that now. They will be 99 cents. I loaded one 2 days ago. I'm loading one today live in about 5 minutes time. And this is a great strategy. There are some cool ways to do it. You want to do it right. But remember, this is passive income. Once it's up, it'll just keep earning money for you, even if it's 99 cents and you only get 35 cents. Okay, here is my challenge to you. Thank you, by the way, for staying here for 1 hour and 28 minutes. In 2 weeks, if you haven't already, that should be first and not first, my apologies. In 2 weeks, get your first book up on Amazon if you haven't already. I'm going to show you how easy it is. That's my challenge to you. Just remember, go for quality and excellence, not perfection, but please make sure it's quality and excellence, because it will come back and bite you if it's poor quality, and if it's not excellent, you'll get a bad reputation and people won't buy from you. Okay, some quick questions. How long did it take me to write my book? These are questions that came in before, by the way. It took me 7 years to write my book part-time. How long did it take you to market? I spent 2 years learning how to do it. Are many of your sales relating to the media coverage in your location? There was a spike when I was on TV. There was another spike when I was on the radio, on the newspaper. It wasn't big numbers. No, it didn't have a massive difference, but it did help me with a spike. Does being a #1 bestseller open doors? Yes, it does. More interviews. I'm on national radio in under an hour. Far better ability to market your book. It's obviously a great psychology to know that you're a bestseller. It's also leverage for further books. I tell people I'm a best-selling author. It's great on my CV. Right. I am going to load my book live now. Actually, I'm going to ask people there's two choices here. Either I can answer some questions or I can load my book live so you can see what I want to do. Who would like me, and you're going to have to write yes if you would like this, who would like me to load the book live now? Okay, lots of people have said yes. Who would rather I asked and answered questions first? Okay, it's well in favour of loading the book live. So I'm going to do it. Yippee! Here we are. This is my third ever book on Amazon. Remember, a month ago I had 0 books on Amazon, and I was in author terms, I was a complete nobody. Now I have 2 books on Amazon. In 15 minutes time I'm going to have 3. Here we go. I go into my Amazon KDP. Now if you have an Amazon account, you can create a KDP account in about 2 minutes. It's dead easy. So I'm not even going to worry about that step and show you how to do that. It's as easy as anything. All right, here we go. I'm clicking on Add a New Title. Okay, let's get right into it. My title for this book is Tips on Self-Talk and Self-Talking. Tips on self-talk and self-talking. Take control of your thoughts. Obviously it's in my niche. It's a book that I wrote. I feel passionate about it. It's only 17 pages long. Is this book part of a series? Well, actually it is, but I've only got 2 books in the series, and I'm not going to worry about this. I'm going to come back and fill this in later so that people who buy one book and liked it can easily find the second one. Now the description. I've already pre-written the description. This description is your sales page. Amazon allows you a sale page. It tells people, they get to look at this for free obviously and decide whether they want to buy your book. I've made a very short description. I think it's here. Yes, it is. Here is my description. I won't bother reading this obviously. If you want to have a look, this book is going to be live this time tomorrow. You can go and look. There's my description. It's in there now. Add contributors. Okay, this is just basically who wrote the book. Now, here are all the options. Obviously, I'm the author, but I can add the editor, I can add the illustrator, photographer, whatever I want. But it's just me writing the book. There's nothing else in it. And Ollie Hille spelt correctly. Author, save. Done. What language is this? The book is in English. Publication date, leave that blank because you want the latest publication date possible, and Amazon will put that in automatically when they launch the book. Publisher, you can leave this blank. My publisher, my own publishing company is Empire Publishers, so I put it in. ISBN, that is relevant for big books. And if you also have a physical book, you do need a separate ISBN number. I do not worry about ISBN numbers for short books. It's not required. Okay, verify your publishing rights. Always click this is not a public domain work. If it's a public domain, it means that it's freely available to everybody. If you've written a book and it's yours and it's copyrighted, it is not a public domain work, it's yours. So click this is not a public domain work. Okay, categories. Now you're going to have to spend a little bit of time thinking about this, but I already know what categories I want for this book. It is a self-help book. And I'm going to choose motivational and inspirational. See, it comes up here on the right. And I'm going to choose personal growth and success. Now I haven't chosen these categories because it'll help my ranking. I've chosen them simply because they're the best categories for my book, and I want people to find this book. Okay, that's it. You're only allowed 2 categories, and I've chosen them both. Okay, search keywords. So that's keywords that if people type them in to Amazon, they're going to find my book. So as you can expect, these are going to be pretty much what you'd expect with the title I've given it. Okay, there they are. Self-talk, self-talking, self-help, motivational, positive thinking, positive thoughts, and reduce stress. That's what I think the best keywords are going to be. Okay, now I am going to upload my image. Now, if you have PDF Creator, I found a really cool thing you can do. You can save anything that you've saved as a Word document as one page. You can save it as a PDF document, and then you can use your PDF Creator to save that page as a JPEG document, which is exactly what I've done. So, browse for image. Yeah, I'm trying to browse. And here it is. Tips on self-talk and self-talking, image only. Double click on it. Upload image. This is going to take, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds. Strange. I thought I put a JPEG in there. I didn't. Okay, spanner in the works. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a different cover on it and then take it down just to show you how easy it is. No. Sorry, that is my fault. I saved the PDF version and not the JPEG version. So I am going to leave that, and I'll go back and do it later so I don't waste your time. It'll take me 2 minutes to do it, but let's leave it. Upload your book file. You've got two choices: enable digital rights. You don't want people to give your book away. You do want people to loan it, so you don't want to enable digital rights management. Okay, browse for the book. This should be a bit easier. Tips on self-talking and self-talking. It's a Microsoft Word document, as I said. So you simply, okay, so this is a key step. You've created a Word document. That's all you need to do. You can either have the cover in the document or not. This one doesn't. So it's simply a Word document. You double click it, and then you click to upload the book. And what Amazon is doing is converting it from a Word document to a Kindle.mobi file, M-O-B-I. And you can see that. Maybe I'll slightly increase the size so you can see what it's doing. So this sometimes does take a minute or two. I think we're only about 5 minutes in. So it's certainly going to be under 10 minutes. If you've got any burning questions, perhaps while we're waiting, you can ask. I think I've answered those questions. Okay, Richard Blakebridge just bought Richard Kelly's book. Super. It's a great book. Okay, so okay, Ray, thank you. What is considered a short book? Well, there's no specific number of pages. I know people who have put 2 to 3 page books up on Amazon. The key is telling people what they're getting, and you'll notice in my description, I do not want to fool anybody. I do not want to annoy anybody. In my description, I say this is a short 17 pages practical book. So somebody's going to see in the description, if you're writing a book that's 3 pages long, just tell them. So there's no right or wrong way about it. Yeah. Okay, before we go on to more questions, it has loaded. You can go in and preview it at this stage to make sure you're happy with what Amazon's done. We won't worry about that. I'm just going to save and continue. Bother. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to put another image in. There we are. Lifestyle templates final. That's fine. I'm just doing this so we can go on to the next step. Uploaded successfully. Right, thank you for your patience. Save and continue. Right, now we get on to the final bit, which is pricing. Okay, so do you have worldwide rights? Yes, you do. You can, if you want to, only sell it in the UK or the US or Canada, or you can choose 3 of them or whatever, but unless you've got an amazingly good reason to do so, you want to sell your book worldwide. Choose your royalty. Well, I have to choose 35% because my book is 99 cents. So I type in here, see it must be between 99 cents and I can't go lower than 99 cents. I'm going to set the UK price automatically based on the US, which I think will give me, and same with Germany, France, Spain and Italy. And that is that. As soon as I press on this button, save and publish, it will go into review. They have a look at it, make sure they're happy with everything, and your book is up on Amazon within 9 to 12 hours. That is it. You're done. So I think that took less than 10 minutes, didn't it? They're still thinking about the price, but that doesn't matter because as soon as, that'll be just part of the process. So there we have it. As soon as I press this button, which I'm not going to because it's got the wrong image, which I'll change 5 minutes after we stop this webinar. As soon as I press that save and publish button, it's in review. It will be up live on Amazon, ready for sale. People will start buying it, hopefully, within 12 hours. That's it. Okay, I'm just going to I'm on the radio in 27 minutes, and I would like a break, but I'm going to take a few burning questions. So it's going to take me too long to go through all of the questions that have been asked and work out which have been answered and which haven't. So if you've asked a question and it hasn't been answered, would you mind typing it in again, please? And I'll answer questions as they come up. Okay, I've got one. Do I have any mindset tips or tactics when you want to write without distraction? That's an interesting one. Once again, I mean, it's going to sound like self-promotion, but actually isn't. I've written quite extensively in my book, Creating the Perfect Lifestyle, about a couple of writing experiences I've had, and they are worth reading. One of them, briefly, is that when I wasn't writing enough, I committed to accountability partners that I would write for a certain amount of time every day. and because I committed to somebody else, I did actually force myself to do it. Another thing is just absolutely forcing yourself to write every single day and get into a habit of writing at the same time of the day. Mindset, look, there is no mindset. Just put pen to paper and do it. Jack says, do I use special software for your Facebook page that I recommend? No, actually, there's nothing special I use on Facebook in terms of apps. Matt is just saying thank you. Well, thank you for being here, Matt. Appreciate you being here. Did I follow a blueprint for my book? No, in terms of the actual book, no, there's no particular blueprint. I just guess I wrote a book the way I'd like it to be written for me to read it. Do I know who buys my books so I can send autoresponders? No. Amazon obviously have massive privacy things, and I have no idea who buys my book from Amazon, and I will never know. They will never tell me. The only reason I would know, and once again this is a good reason to buy my book, Creating the Perfect Lifestyle, is at the back of my book I've got some really cool things to encourage people to opt in and send me their name and email address. That's the only way I know. Does the Word document have to have page breaks to retain the pages when it's converted to a Kindle format? No, it doesn't. Okay, there are no page breaks, so to speak, on Kindle. There are no page numbers either, so you want to make sure there are no page numbers and no footers and headers and stuff. And you can check once you've uploaded the book to Amazon. You can check it before it goes live anyway to make sure that you're happy with the spacings, and you can add more if you need to. Okay, I think we're just about out of questions, but I'm just going to go to the bottom to see. Welcome, Verlaine. Does the Kindle allow you to... yes, it does. Does Kindle allow embedded links? Absolutely it does. And you'll see if you purchase any of my books, there are tons of very cool embedded links in there, which means that if somebody is reading it on their computer or on an Amazon connected wirelessly, they can click and buy stuff, click and look at stuff, click and opt in. Very cool. Thanks, Brian. Okay, you all have my email address. You can email me, ollie.lifestyle@gmail.com. If you haven't already registered for my book, How to Become an Amazon Best-Selling Author, please do so. Thanks for participating. Wonderful to have you here. Hope you enjoyed it. Please give me some feedback, positive, negative, critiquing via Facebook or my email address. Would love your feedback, and please visit